Chris Mad Dog Russo joining us. He brings you High Heat on MLB Network. Let me start there, Chris. Bigger disappointment in New York, the Yankees or the Mets?
Yeah, very good to be on, Dan. You know, we love you. I would definitely say the Mets because the Yankees have the excuse with Judge at 16 and 19 without him. So as a result, I think and Rondon didn't pitch. And I think that at the end of the day, I still think people think the Yankees will be okay. I think the Mets are a colossal flop. I mean, let's be honest. They haven't gotten great starting pitching, especially out of the big two, although Scherzer was good yesterday, but a little late. They're inconsistent offensively. They're 7 or 8 games out of below 500. And remember about the Mets, most Met fans are Jets fans. So the Mets season is over. I mean, the Jets start camp this week with Aaron Rodgers, and they play the Browns in a Hall of Fame game. Nobody is going to care about the Mets at all the next 2.5 months. I mean, all right, they pay attention at the deadline if they make some trades. I heard you talking about that a few minutes ago. But the Mets season, they're not winning. Obviously, they're 30 games behind Atlanta, and they're not going to make the playoffs as a wild card. The Yankees could still easily make the playoffs as a wild card. So I think the Mets, as of right now, off last year, Verlander, the owner's got more money than God. They got a $360 million payroll. They're much more disappointing.
Is this owner getting a hall pass, Steve Cohen, with
yes.
the Mets? Yes. Does he deserve a hall pass?
Right now he does. Yeah.
He's at least spending. If I'm a Mets fan, he's trying, right, which is what you want.
100%. Plus DeGrom, he left, but DeGrom then hurts his arm. So people can't kill him about letting DeGrom walk because he's got his second Tommy John. He brought Verlander in. Most Met fans didn't have a problem with that. He lost Diaz. A lot of these versatile role players, the Canas, the Martes, the third baseman haven't hit nearly as well. Alonso's hitting 200. He gets a pass. I think the GM gets a little grief, and Epler. I think Buck will get a little grief, but I do think the fact that the owner is a breath of fresh air, hasn't gone off the deep end with moves and moaning and groaning about the manager and everything else, and a $355 million payroll. He just bought the team. The owner gets a complete pass. On the other side of the coin, I think the Yankee fan, Cashman's been there for 25 years. Whether he's done a great job, so-so job, he's been there 25 years with success, but that's a long time to be a general manager of a team in New York. 25 years, and they haven't been in a World Series in 14 years, and people are down on Boone. I mean, Boone's been there since 2018, and they have not been to a World Series. They fired the previous manager, who has been there about the same amount of time and won a World Series. So that's some of the issues with Boone. I think people are a little down on those two. But as far as Cohen is concerned, Dan, you know the New York fan. I think most Met fans, after Wilpon, likes Cohen as his owner.
What would be bigger to the city, the Jets winning the Super Bowl or the Knicks winning the NBA Finals?
Jets. The Jets. I mean, football is bigger than basketball. I understand that a lot of New York fans like the football Giants, and there's no Nets fans. So there's more of a New York Knicks fandom. They dominate the market much more than, say, the Jets do because of the Giants. But I think the Jets, they've been basically useless since 1969. Rodgers is a huge player. Football is a far bigger sport. I don't think, and plus the expectation level. I think there's an expectation level with the Jet fan, with Rodgers. Most people realize the Knicks have gotten better, but they're a second-round playoff team. And so they don't expect them to win, and they're not going to win an NBA championship. I think the expectation level for the Jets is much higher, which then increases the juice if they win. So I think the Jets are a much bigger story. I think the Jets are the biggest story in New York right now as far as winning. I think if the Jets win, it will be bigger than any other team winning. Giants, Mets, Rangers. I think if the Jets win it all, that's a huge story in the fall in New York.
Chris Mad Dog Russo, host of Mad Dog Unleashed on SiriusXM High Heat on MLB Network. You a Aaron Rodgers guy?
Yeah, I love Rodgers' game. I think that, he hasn't been great in the postseason. He's coming off a so-so year. Was not great against the Lions the year before San Francisco. He's good to the media. He gives you, he comes on. He's not afraid to talk. I think he thinks he's smarter than everybody in the room. So I think that bothers some people sometimes. He thinks he's smarter than you. But he seems to have embraced being a Jet. He seems to understand a bit of the Jet history. He's been all over the place. Ranger games, Knicks games, Taylor Swift. He's trying to get himself immersed in the New York culture. But I think that
Chris, he was stuck in Green Bay for 15 years. He needed 100%. To get out and do some things socially.
Swift is not going to Lambeau. 100% right. So from that standpoint, I think that he's done everything good since he's been here. He showed up at OTAs, which is helpful. And the Jet fan is so psyched to be relevant, so psyched to be in a postseason scenario, and they should be. And with Garrett Wilson, and with obviously, signing the defensive lineman this week twice, the running back comes back. I mean, they bring in Lazard. They should be. He's here. They brought in Hackett to help them. They should have a good year. Now, the Jets always have a black cloud, so let's not go crazy. But the Jets should be, 11-6, 12-5, right in the mix for a division with Buffalo.
Yeah.
Should be a playoff team. A lot of teams make the postseason. And then it's a crapshoot. Burrow, Mahomes, who knows? But they should be a factor in 2025. I'd be shocked if they're not. They should have a good team.
Back to baseball, John Morosi from MLB Network says the Angels are now in a listening mode with Shohei Ohtani trade inquiries. I don't know what that means. You're in a listening.
Means nothing.
Okay.
Right. I mean, what does that mean? Sure. If the guy calls up and says, "I'll give you my whole roster for him," you'd have to listen. I don't think the owner's trading him. I really don't. The Angels are done. We know that they're finished. But I don't think that owner, who's been there forever, if he leaves as a free agent and you put a $400 million offer on the table and he leaves, you won't get destroyed. If you don't, if you trade him, you're going to get killed like Frazee did with the Red Sox back with Ruth. What are you going to get for him anyway? You get a couple of prospects. Everybody who brings him in knows he's just a rental. Even if he goes to the Dodgers and you don't want to trade him to L.A., why would you want to trade him to the Dodgers? I mean, they're 30 miles away. The Giants, I don't think are going to trade for him, nor do I think Texas will. So you're not trading. The Yankees got enough issues. The Mets aren't in the mix right now. So I don't think you're going to get enough back anyway to make it worth your while. I mean, I know you get a couple of prospects back, but again, with him only being maybe available for a couple of months with that franchise, and I know the Dodgers, I know Texas, I know the Giants, I would be really surprised if Ohtani is not an Angel after July 31st. Now, I don't think he's going to sign there.
Yeah.
But I would be surprised if they trade him. I really would. I don't think it's a story.
Better for baseball if he stays or if he's traded?
Traded, because you want him in the playoffs, and he's not going to stay there long term. So he's not going to be there next year. So you want him in the postseason. And baseball has some issues with its postseason, Dan. It's always up against football, which is tricky. You go games on FS1. You can never find them. We go through this all the time. Plus, you got Tampa, the Twins, Milwaukee. You don't have the Mets. You don't have the Cubs. You may not have the Yankees. So I mean, Red Sox probably not. So you don't have a lot of those big teams, and you may not have Ohtani. So if Ohtani gets traded to a big team and they make the playoffs, he's eyeballs to the set. And they need that. So I think baseball, if they traded him to a team that's going to be in the postseason, I think that's good for the game. You need to see Ohtani in October.
Yeah, no. That's why he has to look around and go, what is Mike Trout's career other than he's been in a playoff game and he's gone to the Hall of Fame. He's been an MVP, but that was 9 years ago that he was in a playoff, or 10 years ago he was in a playoff. And Ohtani has to look around going, I'm going to get paid a lot of money, but nobody's going to see me.
Exactly right. And I don't want to hear about people moaning and groaning about Trout, because Trout signed 2 long-term contracts with the Angels. He signed one 3 years ago and Betts signed with the Dodgers. He easily could have played out the string and gone to a team that's got pitching that will win every year. Phillies. And he didn't. He took the $420 million and stayed with the Angels. So this idea that we got to have a pity party for Trout, we never see him in October, what a disgrace. Hold on now. He could have been in October. He could have left the Angels, who haven't been, as you said, have not been a huge factor for a long period of time. And he decided to stay. So I can't feel sorry for Trout's lot in life because he could have left. Ohtani, I think Ohtani is, at the end of the day, I think there's three teams. I think Seattle's sneaky. I think they could get him and next year. I think the Giants are a possibility, and I think the Dodgers. I think those are the three teams for Ohtani at the end of the day. I don't think he's going to the East Coast.
Before I let you go, 60 seconds to talk Wimbledon, if you would like.
Oh, it's, one of the glorious finals you're ever going to see. Both players played great. Had ebb and flow to the match. Alcaraz is going to win 10 to 20 majors easy in his career. Djokovic missed a swinging volley there in that fifth set tiebreak, in that fifth set when he had a break point at 1-1. But it was a win for tennis, Dan. 5 hours, back and forth. Djokovic is better when he's got an opponent because then it's a great contrasted styles. And I think with the bad weather in the Northeast yesterday, I'd be surprised if they didn't have some people watching. And it was good for the sport. And Alcaraz is something. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he does it all. I mean, as Djokovic said in his post-match, he said he's a combination of Federer and Nadal. That's how good Alcaraz is. He's won 2 majors by the time he's 20. He's going to play 16 years. Djokovic is going to retire sooner or later. Who the hell's going to beat him? He's going to win 20 majors, this guy. He's that good. So it was good for the sport. Loved it. Fun to watch.
Chris heads up Mad Dog Sports Radio on Sirius XM and Mad Dog Unleash. That's 3 to 7 every day. I believe it's still 3 to. Are you on from 3 to 6? Oh, you're mailing it in. You're only doing 3 hours.
Only doing 3. Thank God.
And you're going to the Jersey Shore. Bar Anticipation in New Jersey. What the hell are you doing in Jersey?
Well, it's funny. I did that show at Bar A way back in the WFAN days, long before 9/11. I would go, Friday in the summertime. It's a big bar. It's about a block, about 3 or 4 blocks from the ocean in Belmar. It's loose right near Spring Lake. And I had a good time. Band, Southside Johnny, and everything else. And then I left FAN, and I have not been. And I mailed in my resignation from the Bar A on a Thursday night because I didn't have a fax machine. So I went to Bar A because I was at the Jersey Shore to mail in my resignation. And when I went to Sirius, 14 years ago. So I have not been back. And Sirius and Bar A made a deal. I'm going to go August 4th, 3 to 7 on a Friday afternoon in 3 weeks. So we'll
okay, wait a minute. Did you announce your resignation the way Pat Riley did when he? Didn't he fax in his resume to the Knicks?
Yes, he did. Pat has never spoken to me since. Yes, I did. FAN wanted to get that done immediately. And in that letter, I was not allowed to go work at ESPN radio. So in the resignation letter, to get it in, I had to indicate, and I was going to go to Sirius anyway. That I was not allowed to be on the air at ESPN. So they wanted that ASAP. So that is why I ran to Bar A, as I was at the Jersey Shore for a summer, and I got that resignation in. So now I go back, first time in 14 years.
Have you had Springsteen on your show?
I have had him on once, Super Bowl, when he did halftime, Arizona, Pittsburgh.
Okay.
You remember in Tampa?
Yeah.
Had him on for about 15 minutes. That's it. Nobody else.
And he's not a big sports guy.
No. Likes baseball, though. Big baseball fan.
Okay, but do you have a problem with he could throw that speedball by you, make you look like a fool? I mean, speedball?
Glory days. Yeah, glory days. The speedball should be called the fastball.
Yeah.
Stand, you don't like the vernacular. I listen. Is he going to break down like you and I can? Like the 27 Yankees?
But somebody's got to say. I mean, a speedball is what killed John Belushi. Like, I don't need that. That's not a baseball reference.
It's not a baseball reference. I guess I'll give him a pass because it's part of the song. Fogarty. Center field.
Yes.
Those lyrics better, a little more baseball oriented? I don't even know.
No. Fogarty, he loves baseball. He watches. Loves baseball. Loves baseball. Watches it every night. Yes, he does.
Oh, he watches every night. Does
yes, he loves baseball. By the way, there's one song that I can't stand that Springsteen sings.
What's that?
Because I don't get people excited over Hungry Heart when he's got a wife and kids in Baltimore, Jack, and then all of a sudden he leaves them, and people are, they're having a damn good time that he just left his wife and his kids, Chris.
It's a good point, and he does that song in Baltimore all the time. That was, if I'm not mistaken, Hungry Heart, it might be one of his most best-selling singles when that came out, whenever it was, 1980, 81. Did you see him on this tour?
I did not.
Are you going to see him?
I would like to. I just don't like the hassle of getting to a show.
Pain in the neck.
Yeah.
Well, you got Mohegan Sun. You got Albany. He hasn't played those two spots yet.
I want to go see Taylor Swift before I want to see Spring. I've seen
and you
Bruce.
haven't seen her yet either. Is she going to Boston?
I don't know. I haven't checked the schedule, but I've seen Bruce a few times and always enjoyed
You've been part of that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I saw him twice. I saw him in Boston and I saw him in Newark on the 14th, and I'll go again. Did you hear him with Howard?
Yeah. I heard that interview.
And you liked it, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah.
He did a good job. I will, I'll see him for a third time. My daughter went to Taylor Swift at MetLife.
Yeah.
Loved it. She went there at MetLife, and you heard about the issue this week at Denver because she was there when the Yankees were there the same weekend. You knew that, right? I'm sure you saw that.
Who's having a better year, though, Taylor or the Yankees? Obviously, Taylor.
I swear, and the Yankees, they can't lose enough for me. Only 5, 6, 10, over 500. Keep on losing.
Taylor was in Boston a couple of months ago, I'm being told.
Oh, so you missed her.
Yeah, I missed her.
I know Springsteen's playing Foxborough. You know that, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why don't you go? You like that. Why don't you go?
It's a hassle. You know that one road in, one road out at Fox.
Why don't you go to Mohegan Sun?
Yeah, maybe.
Why not?
But he's going to play Hungry Heart, and everybody's going to be cheering that he's leaving his wife and kids.
He only played Hungry Heart on this tour in Baltimore. It's been the same 27 songs. You will not hear that if that bothers you so much.
It does. And by the way, Growing Up and She's the One are my two favorite Springsteen songs.
You'll get She's the One. He has not played Growing Up yet.
Well, I saw him on Broadway. When he did Broadway.
Oh, you did something on Broadway. Okay.
Yeah.
No, he does not play Rosalita in Europe, and he plays Rosalita in the United States. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that seems that he has not played it in Europe at all.
Are you listed as a Springsteen insider?
I used to be, more so.
Okay.
Whenever I saw him for the first time in 1978, and I saw him twice that summer, and I took a blind date at Madison Square Garden. I got tickets through the lottery. So I saw him at the Garden in August of 78. He played 5 nights. I saw him on a Saturday night. I took the Long Island Railroad in, and I had a blind date. Didn't amount to anything. But I went in, and you know where he was on the Monday night after he played 4 nights? At the New Haven Coliseum.
Well, he was an animal back then.
Oh, he did. I'll give you another one that's funny. I saw him one night in Lakeland, Florida in February of 83. No, I'm sorry, 81. You know where he was the night before in Lakeland? So he plays Lakeland like on a Tuesday night. On Monday night, he was in Starkville, Mississippi, at Mississippi State. That's pretty good.
Oh, you're great.
Oh, no days off for Brucey in those days.
No, just like you. Hey, great to talk to you, Chris.
Love you, Danny.
Thank you, buddy. That's Mad Dog Russo joining us.